Yeah, I think it is quite attractive. I mean, we were underweighted all the way up to 350, so we missed that run. Let's get a second bite of the cherry here, but it's starting to look attractive. You know, with commodity prices where they are, with Anglo's back at the levels around about sort of well below 300. All of a sudden, at a 10 or 11 sort of forward-looking PE, it starts to look attractive. But there are plenty of good things coming out, and that mining in Derby is certainly keeping us busy.
I'm a bit outdated, 291 on Anglo American. That brings us to our 4% rally. If they were to resume the dividend, we haven't heard any news flow from Cynthia Carroll on that front. What kind of jump could that cause in the share price? And this obviously just off the cuff thinking.
Personally, I think it's unlikely they would. I think we're going to get more updates in the next week or so with regards to Anglo Platts as well, and what they need to do. We know their balance sheet's under a lot of strain. I think very unlikely that we would see any sort of money returning to shareholders before maybe early next year. I think it would be a huge boost of confidence if they did, but I think it's unlikely.
You mentioned Anglo Platinum, and the market is anticipating a rights issue on that front.
I think, you know, really they are under a lot of strain. They've already been borrowed. They borrowed, I think, close on, $1.2 billion last time from Anglos to keep it going. That was on top of, I think, another billion the quarter before. So they are under a lot of pressure. There's a strong likelihood they might have to have a rights issue. I guess the million-dollar question is how discounted or not will the rights issue be? We know Anglo American are a significant shareholder, and if they want to take up the majority of the rights, I think they're going to have to do it at a fairly, quite a decent premium.
Impala Platinum up 5.5% at the top of the top 40. We mentioned earlier that these platinum stocks were in a significant rally. What do you make of Impala Platinum? We've spoken about the battles where Anglo Platinum is concerned in the restructuring that balance sheet. Obviously, market commentators always point to the fact that Impala Platinum has a stronger balance sheet.
Very, very different space to Anglo Platts. In fact, there's a lot of the junior plat miners actually looking quite attractive. Implats itself it was raised this morning by SocGen to a buy recommendation. I think when we saw the vehicle market, sort of the recovery happening there, we've got vehicle sales, new sales out of the States tonight, I think around about midnight. A lot of positive rhetoric coming out of this Indaba. You know, it's certainly what a difference a day makes. I mean, it was down 5-6% over the last 2-3 days. So I guess the theme again that we're seeing from the volatility continuing.
Where's the VIX at the moment? What are we seeing?
The VIX is sitting at about 23.5%, which is bounced quite strongly from its lows, 16-17%. So it's about a 30% sort of vol move. So I mean, there is volatility being priced in. Market's still very nervous. I mean, yesterday we're getting flows on the Dow of about 1 billion shares traded, typically trading about 1.5. So even on biggest rally I think in about a month, the volumes are still thin. So you do get the underlying sense that people are still waiting to see how this recovery plays out.
Last night on Business Tonight, Kevin Lings was very excited about the US ISM number coming in at 58.4, specifically with that employment subsector coming in at above 50 for the second consecutive month. Is that a leading indicator for you?
It is, but it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because if this recovery is so good, well, how long can they keep rates at zero for in the States? And I think that's been creating, we're getting the sense, a little bit of nervousness. Is on one side, the global recovery is real and it is taking place, and America is certainly still the biggest economy in the world, and it's still driving at a nice rate. But what happens when the stimulus has to certainly be tightened, monetary policy has to be tightened? Where does it leave the lights of a lot of these stocks that are running on the fact that they've been promised low interest rates till early 2011 by the Federal Reserve?
Third quarter update out of Vodacom, and their revenue climbed 6%, and it added more subscribers, although they did see they lost 1.1 million customers because of the RICA, the registration requirements.
I think we'll see that theme continue as well. I think MTNs will also be the same with RICA. A lot of heavyweight institutions have got these stocks on a watch list and a sort of wait and see. I think we'll see more of that, especially MTN, I guess, is the next one to watch coming out of Nigeria. I think they'll be under a lot of pressure as well with these RICA.
Are you ignoring Vodacom at 54.41?
No, I think it's just it's kind of there. It's in the background. There's so much going on in the resource sector, and we are. There's a lot of high beta plays happening with the rand moving so much that it is, with these plat shares, with this ETF stories coming out. It just seems to be, certainly from a trading perspective. I think if you want to probably get 5–10% return this year if some of those telcos are the place you want to be, but you're going to miss all the sort of fun and games.
Murray and Roberts, an upgrade today to overweight. What brokerage house was that?
Just looking at it on this morning, it was actually out of one of the US houses, looking pretty good as well, saying the infrastructure spending in South Africa is looking good. Also probably hot on the heels of Basil Reid
yesterday, 15
well.
to 17%.
Exactly.
Was pretty positive on that trend.
Exactly. So, you know, these stocks have been under so much pressure over the last couple of months, and hopefully looking like we're seeing a little bit of a turnaround. We're getting more and more positive flow, but I don't think they're out the woods just yet.
Is it still a wait and see approach to the construction stocks, or are some people getting brave enough now to start dipping their toes?
We have a lot of people starting to pick up Murray and Roberts. I think PPCs have still got a little way to go. Basil Reid confirmed. I think Aveng is the other one. But for us, it's you know, is this infrastructure spending, as the likes of Basil Reid said yesterday, is still keeping them going? It's not going to happen forever. So I think the transparency and the further out you go, out towards the sort of end of 210 to 11 is the crucial point. And I think that's still a little bit murky.
Would you read anything into Reunert buying back shares? They had their AGM today, and I don't have a share price. I'm sure we'll get an update in just a moment. But is it a sector that you focus on?
No, but it's an interesting one. We have a lot of traders who sort of punted on the back of, you know, they're going to do something special. It's almost like just that holding company, and I think certainly the management missed the boat. Anything that was cheap to buy is not cheap anymore. So maybe you get the feeling this might be another way to satisfy shareholders that nothing was done with this company.
The financials, ever since we saw Obama waging war on the bankers, banks have come under pressure across the globe, and then they've bounced a bit. Where do you lie in the banking equation? Do you think that we're going to see them tumbling from these levels?
I think I see them tumbling, Bronwyn, but from a global point of view, the last thing that investment houses and free market policies need is more regulation. There's no doubt that certainly the banks probably abused what they had, and there's just a bit more of a political play, I think, at the moment. You know, Obama's under a lot of pressure in the States. You know, he certainly his star wasn't as shiny as it was a few months ago, and I think it's a little bit of jumping on the bandwagon, beating up these banks. But I think it'll be very, very difficult. The financial industry accounts for such a huge part of the global economy. To regulate even more, I think you'd really battle to get that through Congress.